Hello, everyone, and welcome to Paranormal News Network. If it's not normal news, it is paranormal news. I am your host, Anthony Agati. Sorry, I'm just trying to get everything situated. This is the first show, so there are going to be blunders and mishaps. So I'm not going to chit-chat. I'm not going to talk up. I'm not going to do any of that right now. We're going to get right into the news. So let's get this up and going right now. Here we go. First news piece up. I'm sure you guys have seen this in and around social media. If not, you're in for a rare treat. If you have noticed this on social media or even on YouTube itself, this has been circulating around regarding a man named Noah, who claims to be a time traveler from the year 2030. He first came to light on an infamous time travel genre YouTube channel called Apex TV. Now, if you guys have heard of Apex TV, it is it's sort of on the genre of paranormal, but it mainly highlights time travelers. He's got a bunch of videos. Pretty much 90% of his videos are about time travelers. But they are known to upload many of these various videos about people around the world who claim to be time travelers. But this particular person who you see on your screen right now, his name, or he goes by the name of Noah, seems to have crossed over from small-time YouTube channels on social media to mainstream media. This guy is actually transformed from going social and on small networks to mainstream media. With his identity blurred and his voice manipulated, Noah has not given us many clues as to why or how he supposedly came to the year 2018. He has claimed that there is a chip of some sort implanted in his hand that is supposed to be the key to time traveling. In this clip from an Australian morning show, Sunrise, the hosts seem to be having a hard time believing this man and question their professional abilities. So what I was able to do is, after looking at this video on Apex TV, I was actually able to find another video clip, which I'm going to pull up right now, of an Australian morning show called Sunrise. And these two hosts actually interview this guy, Noah. But it's kind of comical. So just take a listen and watch this.
Alrighty, we've got a very interesting subject coming up next. It's a bit of a spooky one.
And listen, this is really, it's made international news around the world, and we want you to decide whether you believe it or not.
We could well be one of the many media outlets that could be accused of being taken in, you know, maybe a bit of a hoax, but it's an interesting character. Well, as they said in the X-Files, the truth is out there, but this is really out there. A mysterious man who claims he's from the year 2030 has created headlines around the world.
Now, he's known only as Noah, and he was interviewed on paranormal online channel Apex TV, allegedly while on a lie detector.
Are you an actual time traveler from the year 2030?
Yeah.
If Trump's going to be re-elected, is that true?
Yes, he is going to be re-elected.
Okay. And how about from the time you're from, in 2030, who's going to be president?
Yolanda Renee King.
Now, Noah had his wrists x-rayed to show implants he claims are crucial to his time travel, but has refused to allow them to be surgically removed or further examined. So, here we are. Let's cross live now to the man himself. As you can see there, it's an undisclosed location, and we're keeping identity fairly secret there. But Noah, let's say good morning to you. Why are you so worried about people knowing who you are, and don't you think that may...
Notice the Apex TV sweatshirt that he's actually wearing. Is that a paid promotion by the YouTube channel, or maybe not?
Makes people question your credibility.
Yes, it could make people question my credibility, but the reason why I do it for the most part is because the government can't find me, and because people could help them if I showed my face, which would be a major bad thing for me. Okay. And as well as the thing, yeah. Continue.
So why do you think what do you think that the government would do to you if they found you?
Well, I'm pretty sure that they would do horrible things. But what else I would think is that they would, bring me back to my normal time. It's either one. They're both as likely. So that's it's terrifying to me.
How did you get here?
Well, I was on a mission, and with like a bunch of my coworkers, and one of them did something so bad that we all got fired on the spot, which makes no sense. I know it's one of the most biggest flaws of the story, why the government would have fired us midway through a time that we weren't supposed to be in, but it ended up happening.
Okay, so did you get here via some kind of time capsule, as we see in the movies?
No. So when I time travel, I put on special clothing, and I'm in this giant dome, and a bunch of electricity is able to transport me. This giant dome is literally in the middle of nowhere. It's a government facility and everything, and it basically.
No, it sounds pretty far-fetched. It sounds like rubbish.
I know, but like, that's why I'm trying to at least show as much as proof as possible, like a lie detector, and the thing that's literally in my wrist.
Well, hang on, we can't analyse what's on your wrist, and lie detector tests can be notoriously dodgy and rigged to do certain things. I'm interested if you came in a special suit, but you're now sitting in the year 2018 wearing a hoodie advertising Apex, which is the TV channel that you've made this special for.
Yeah, but I got this hoodie from Apex TV, and time travelers don't wear suits. They don't wear. We both basically wore like normal stuff. Like we wore like white shirts, white pants, and everything.
Now, who's the president that you talk about? This name that you mentioned, I wondered whether it was a weird anagram suggesting a joke of some kind. Alana Remeke? Who's that? Who's going to be the president in 2028?
I said Yolanda Renee King, and like a lot of people are thinking Yolanda Renee King. Basically, a lot of people are. She is going to be 21 when she's the president,
Okay,
but that's because
Martin Luther King's granddaughter, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so you're saying that she is going to be the president at 21. They would then have to change legislation for her to be able to do that young. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you explain then, who is Alana Remeke? Did you also say that she was going to be president?
No, I did not. That was just people thinking Yolanda Renee King was. I was talking about someone else.
Oh, okay. That's a bit weird. Hey, tell me, 2030, is there a cure for cancer then?
There's no cure to cancer because there are several forms of cancer. There's no one that cure. There can't be a cure to all of it.
What's the most interesting thing about the year 2030 where you've come from?
Well, there's nothing much because it's literally 12 years. But there is robots, not robots, like you think that they're everywhere, but AI is AI is a huge part of the future. But there are robots that are literally starting to be released out into the public. I'm not joking.
Are there still TV presenters doing stupid interviews like this?
2%ers?
2%ers, that's pretty much us, actually. Yeah. You've summed it up. What about what people are watching on TV? Is reality TV still big?
Reality TV is as big as it is now. It doesn't really change, except, you watch stuff on your phone and on a computer. You don't really watch on TV anymore.
Okay. Well, I don't think I've done an interview before to an undisclosed location to a hoodie, so that's been a fascinating...
I love how he says we don't watch television, or we don't watch shows on our televisions anymore. It's only on phones and computers, which is what we're doing now. I kind of find this to be a little disturbing, a little, I'll just say it's a little fake. I don't believe in this at all. I'm going to try not to put my opinions in on a lot of these stories that I'm going to be, presenting during my shows. I'm going to try not to put my opinion, but it's going to be hard. I am for the paranormal. I believe in things in the paranormal, but there are people out there who are going to try and make a fast buck on things, and I'm not sure what direction this one is going in, but I kind of feel as though that they may be banking on something. What it is, I don't know what it is, but keep a lookout, keep an eye out. Check social media for this time travel in Noah. And if you want, check out Apex TV and see what else they've got, and make up your own mind. The next story that we're going to talk about is the Mandela effect. Is your mind playing tricks on you? Now, the Mandela effect has been around for many, many years, and I have actually talked about the Mandela effect in previous shows and in other channels that I have done. I had been a really big proponent or a big believer in the Mandela effect, but as I have researched more and more the sort of medical journals and understanding what little we know about our brain and the functions and the powers that it has, I've come to the conclusion that it is just a malfunction of your brain and of your memory that makes you believe that that is so. Why are my papers sticky to this damn table? Hold on one second. Sorry, guys. I'm going to just move this out of the way. Okay. So I found this article on, well, here, I'll just read it. An article that came out on February 12th from theconversation.com, which is an online academic and social blog news site, tries to tackle the infamous Mandela effect from a scientific point of view. For those who have been living under a rock the past few years, let me try and explain what the Mandela effect is all about. Fiona Broom, an independent paranormal investigator and researcher, coined the phrase Mandela effect back in 2010 while she was chatting with friends one night. Somehow they began to talk about Nelson Mandela, and the majority of the group claimed he had passed away in the late 80s while still in prison. When they finally looked him up online, they realized he was still alive at that time, and as we know, he actually died in 2013, according to history. But the fact that the entire group had memories of watching his funeral and knew for many years, some of them even growing up on this knowledge, that he had died in prison stirred up some controversy and created the phenomenon that somehow the world is changing. Some sort of alternate reality is being implanted, and thus the reason why we remember one thing but the actuality or truth is another. Hence the Mandela effect. Since then, many hundreds of thousands of people all over the world have claimed to have had similar instances with other aspects of life, including social, political figures, television slogans, book titles, and movie scenes have all changed from what they remembered. One example, which is still boggling my mind, is the infamous line from Star Wars from Darth Vader. The line, "Luke, I am your father," is not in the film. And the actual line goes, "No, I am your father." I don't know. I remember it saying, "Luke, I'm your father," but in any case. In the article, the author states, when it comes to the Mandela effect, many examples are attributable to so-called schema-driven errors. Schemas are organized packets of knowledge that direct memory. In this way, schemas facilitate understanding of material but can produce distortion. Frederick Bartlett outlined this process in his 1932 book, Remembering. Bartlett read the Canadian Indian folktale War of the Ghosts to participants. He found that listeners omitted unfamiliar details and transformed information to make it more understandable. Whether what you believe is false or is true to reality, it may be safe to say that our brains are more complicated than we think. And since we think, we may never understand the full power of our mind and the inner workings of its potential. So, for many, many years now, there have been many different people coming out on social media, especially on YouTube. There are a lot of videos on this phenomenon, on the Mandela effect, that people are coming up with more and more things that people claim to be truth, or what they thought was true, in actuality is false. And that goes with, as I was mentioning, book titles. The Berenstain Bears is one big example that has been around for many years, that people are still denying the fact of its title and how it's spelled. As I mentioned in movie scenes, the Darth Vader line. For me, myself, that's something that I've tried to overcome. But, you know, as I was reading other articles and talking to people about this, you know, when you are, I guess, sort of infatuated with one particular thing, or infatuated or obsessed, however you want to call it, you tend to replay things in your mind. And a lot of times when you are in discussion with conversations, this schema fault or the schema-driven errors that this particular medical professional is saying, you tend to slightly change things up. And then once they're repeated over and over again, and other people hear you within your peer group, it becomes a fact. So that later on, many years down the line, you believe what you've been saying to be true, but in actuality, it's sort of a distortion or mutation of the actual truth. I believe that to be true, but there are some things that lead me to believe, and some people out there in YouTube as well as other lands across the lands that say that we are living in a parallel reality or multiverse universe, and so therefore they are colliding together, and here we have overlaps and distortions that are going on. What do you believe? Comment below and let us know what you believe to be is the Mandela effect. Do you believe it to be true? Or are there things that you believed in your memory of what was truth, but in actuality, once you looked it up online, it actually was false? So I'd love to hear back from you on that, and let me know what you come up with on that topic. Okay, next area to talk about. This one I actually came across earlier in the week, and I have a video clip to go along with this one. There's a gentleman who, and I don't have all of the information on this guy, but he was out in the Nevada desert not too long ago. I think this was maybe a couple of weeks back, filming aerial shots of fighter jets, I think, that they were testing out in the Nevada field. And of course, this is around Area 51. And so this gentleman who, which you'll be watching in a second here, he, in the midst of, while photographing, and I believe he was sort of downloading or listening to radio announcements or radio signals. I guess it was a police scanner of some sort, or military scanner. I'm not too familiar, or not too sure what he had in his truck that he was listening to. But there's a part in the video where, after he was taking all of these shots, there's no activity going on in the skies. You do not hear that plane noise or that aerial noise from some sort of aerial vehicle that's going on, that's passing overhead in the sky. But you do hear a loud sonic boom, and it comes out of nowhere, and it disappears as quickly as it comes in. So I'm going to play this video, and I want you guys to listen to it, and you tell me what you think it could be.
Somebody at altitude up there shooting flares.
God damn. Holy shit. That scared the hell out of me. Son of a bitch. God damn.
I'm going to play it one more time so you guys can hear it again. Watch right before that sound if you hear anything else.
Somebody at altitude up there shooting flares.
God damn. Holy shit. That scared the hell out of me. Son of a bitch. God damn.
You hear how it came out of nowhere and then quickly dissipated, but did you catch what he was actually saying or trying to point out right before that sound came out? Let me see if I can play it again. Hold on one second. Catch what he's saying right before.
Two. One checking in bullseye 06, test 4920.
Somebody at altitude up there shooting flares.
He mentioned something about somebody up in the altitude shooting flares. Now, he alludes to the fact that, and this is what I've read in articles, that he alludes to the fact that he had not seen anything in the skies right before the sound came out. But he does mention that he sees flares of some sort in the sky. So there must have been some moving object. Now, whether or not that's a UFO or not, I don't know. Could it be a man-made vehicle or aerial vehicle of some sort where sound is traveling faster than light? But in this case, if he's seeing something, that means that light is traveling faster than sound, so it can't be. I am up in the air with this video and this audio piece. I'm not sure what to believe, but I'd love to hear from you guys and what you believe to be truth or false. On to the next news piece. This one is kind of strange. This one is, if true, this is a little heart-wrenching. I'm not going to lie. It probably will make you angry on some level. I'm just going to get into this. 2 women give birth to these strange creatures in Bassa, and Bassa is located in Liberia, which is a West African country. The Daily Observer newspaper from Liberia published a news article about 2 women from the West African town of Bassa in Liberia giving birth to what midwife Martha Jo characterized as creatures in early February. That's February 2018. Martha Jo, a midwife who was involved in these 2 cases and has been a midwife for over 15 years, claims to have participated in delivering 2 creatures from 2 different women that were the work of the devil and something not of this planet. Martha explained that the first woman, Joan Kpa, gave birth while in her 10th month of pregnancy to a creature that looked very similar to a black cobra. No other descriptions were provided, but the attendants who were assisting Martha in this delivery were supposedly in fear of their life and thought this creature, whatever it was, would bite them, and so they killed it as soon as it was removed from the mother. Sad. The second woman, Marpu Gay, gave birth to what the midwife described as a 3-horned, 2 long-toothed, and 1-eared baby girl. The baby soon died after birth on its own. The town cried witchcraft and labeled the baby as a product of the devil. A medical practitioner from the newspaper stated that it is not uncommon, as we know, for a baby to have abnormal features due to environmental factors, drugs, chemicals, and even exposure to radiation. He states that this is not the work of the devil and is easily explained by medical studies and poor fetal development. As I mentioned, this is a sad story, so I'm not going to throw in my 2 cents in, but again, I'd love to hear your 2 cents. Please comment below and let me know what you think of that story. If you have any updates to it, or if you have further information, I'd love to hear about that as well. You've got the email right above over there that you can send information to, or if you'd like, comment below and let me know about that. Next story, next top story actually. Michio Kaku, who is infamous in the astronomy field and has been talking about aliens and contact with aliens for many, many years now, is stating that we are on the brink of actually making contact with alien civilizations. And he claims that we are so close that within this century, we will actually be able to have contact or have some encounter of a mass scale, global possibly, with alien civilizations. American theoretical physicist, futurist, and popularizer of science, Michio Kaku thinks humans will detect aliens before 2100 by listening to radio communications, but he does not know if we will be able to talk back to them. Speaking on an Ask Me Anything question and answer session on social media platform Reddit, the futurist answered a Redditor who asked Dr. Kaku, if we make contact with alien civilizations, then what? And how will we talk to them? Dr. Kaku replied, let me stick my neck out. I personally feel that within this century we will make contact with an alien civilization by listening in on their radio communications. But talking to them will be difficult since they could be tens of light years away. So in the meantime, we must decipher their language to understand their level of technology. Are they type 1, type 2, or type 3? And what are the intentions? Are they expansive and aggressive or peaceful? Types of civilizations represent the three categories in the Kardashev scale. The scale measures a civilization's technological advancement based on the amount of energy they are able to use for communication. Humans are not yet a type 1 civilization because they have not reached a stage of being able to use every ounce of energy on their home planet, which includes solar, thermal, oceanic, and more. Mr. Kaku added another possibility is that they land on the White House lawn and announce their existence. Quote, but I think that is unlikely since we would like forest animals. But I think that that is unlikely since we would be like forest animals to them. That is not worthy of communicating with. Dr. Kaku is not the first renowned scientist to predict that humanity will make contact with alien life. Stephen Hawking recently said that he is, quote, more convinced than ever that we are not alone, and added that humanity should stop reaching out to aliens before it is too late. He says humanity should stop reaching out to aliens before it's too late. He added, quote, one day we might receive a signal from a planet like Gliese 832c, but we should be wary of answering back. Quote, meeting an advanced civilization could be like Native Americans encountering Columbus. That didn't turn out so well. Dr. Hawking is involved in the Breakthrough Listen project, which will scan planets around the nearest million stars for signs of life within radio signals. Senior astronomer and at the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, SETI, Seth Shostak, has placed a wager that we will find signs of alien life within 20 years. According to the Drake equation, based on the sheer volume of stars in space, it is highly unlikely that we are the only life in the universe. I've been saying that for years now. Scientists are currently focused on radio waves, so archaic, which Shostak, Hawking, and Kaku all predict will be where alien contact will come through. I don't understand that. Radio waves stand out from the naturally occurring background noise in the universe, which typically extends across a much wider frequency range. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to have contact with alien life forms with such an advanced technology, such an advanced brain, education, power, everything else with radio waves. It's almost like giving a 6-year-old a rotary dial telephone to contact their mom. They're not going to know how it works unless they're told how to do it. I just don't know about radio waves and whether or not that it is, I don't know, that it's legit and that it actually will work. But I'm excited to hear that many scientists in the field are actually talking more and more now about the idea of actually making contact, and that maybe it is about time that maybe it's the awakening of our planet, of our people, that is allowing many of the alien life form to understand and to read that we are willing and able to actually make that contact. I don't think they had that same idea. I'm talking about the alien life forms. I don't believe that they had that same idea 100 years ago, because we were not, or are not, or were not in the same feeling, the same motion, the same awakening that we are in now. What do you think? I don't know. I think we will make contact. I don't know if it's going to be by 2100. I think that there are going to be, and you know, I do want to add this. Elon Musk, who just launched SpaceX, and you know, we've got a roadster that's actually circling around the Earth right now and heading off into Mars. Elon Musk is deathly afraid of artificial intelligence, AIs, that we are creating here on Earth. And he's saying, I think it was by the year 2050, that many of the outlets and many of the jobs that we currently are possessing will be taken over by artificial intelligence. We could soon be just lounging around, maybe digging garbage pails for food, because artificial intelligence is going to be taking over the world. I'm seeing more signs of that sort of coming to light, but I'm shocked to hear that Elon Musk has the sort of negative feeling towards AI. And so if that is the case, could alien life form outside of the planet see that as a threat? And if they do come to the planet with negative connotations or a negative aspect or intention, whereas if that was never in reality, you know, could it have made a change, or will it make a change at all? I guess we'll soon find out. It's an interesting topic to discuss, but it's a little scary to think about. Okay, I probably don't even have to say anything, because you probably have seen this shot all over social media. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I know it's been on Reddit all over the place. I am trying to think of any other. I think it's on Twitter. Yes, it actually has been roaming the halls of Twitter within the last week or two. This, I have gone back and forth on this video itself. Let me just read the news. The anchors on Channel 6 News in Milwaukee were startled on the morning of Tuesday, February 27th, which was just this week, when coming back from break and heading into their morning weather segment. A stationary camera set atop the news tower facing the direction of the county courthouse captured a sight that has gone viral. And I'm going to play the video here in case you guys have been living under a rock and have not seen this. The news anchors were confused and shocked at what they saw that morning, and so were the many onlookers and viewers. One theory is that it was a cluster of seagulls that were separately videotaped on a ground film crew recording the same actions in the sky overhead. Let's see if I can just rewind this back again. Okay. Many skeptics, if you notice, you know, it almost looks like, I don't fish, you know, fish in a fish bowl or fish tank. Many skeptics have stated that it is simply the seagulls that were captured by the second camera crew, but the news channel Fox 6 themselves still do not have a clue. I'm going to play it again. Oh, here's a big. Okay, here's a deeper shot of this. I don't know, guys. Do you think this is seagulls? I can't see. There's actually one shot. I don't know. Here it is, right here. See? This one here had gone up. Let me see if I can scroll back a little bit. There we go. See, it goes up, stops, and then comes down. What seagull or what bird does that? Also, the movements in the dance. Let's see if I can go back again. The movement and the dance of all of these supposed birds, I don't know, it just doesn't, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. It does not, to me, look like it. Now, you can talk about the light that is being emitted from these objects that are in the sky. They can be a reflection from the ground below, because as you can see, there is a lot of light in the city below. So they could be a part of that. And they could be just reflecting that light off of it. Or that may be just what the camera is able to pick up, or is trying to pick up from whatever these objects are. But I don't know. I did see the video that they had of the other news crew that was actually down on the ground, and it showed up above the courthouse where these seagulls were flying all over the place. But if you go and watch that movie, the movements are not the same as this. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just diluting myself. But I think it's something that many people who are interested in this should actually research further. I would hope that if you do live in the Milwaukee area, that you take a camera, go on a hilltop somewhere, take a camera and see if you can recapture this again. There's actually, I think, another piece of news footage. I don't know if it was from the same night, but I believe it was from Fox News 6 in Milwaukee, that actually filmed another angle of it, I believe, and it shows that same piece, and it looks the exact same way. So there was really no difference in the two different shots. Only the one of the ground crew was actually showed the seagulls itself. So I don't know. Read up on your own, research it on your own. Maybe I'm going to see if I can try and actually reach out to Fox News 6 in Milwaukee to see if they have any further information. I haven't been able to find anything online in regards to it, so we'll take a look at that later. Mothman is actually showing up in Chicago. This is something very different, and well, I guess different for the Mothman Chronicles. The Mothman story itself is more southern based, more eastern side, southern based in Virginia, in South Carolina, I believe in Maryland and Washington D.C. But here it's showing up in Chicago. So all you Chicagoans out there, be on the lookout for Mothman. Earlier this year in 2018, Vice News, which everybody knows about, reported on a story of what they were being told was multiple Mothman encounters and eyewitness reports. John Amatrano, a Chicago resident, shared an experience that he witnessed to Vice News while he was working security at Logan Square Hangout one Friday night. Quote, "I saw a plane flying, but also something moving really awkwardly under it," he told Vice. "It didn't look like a bat so much as what illustrations of pterodactyls look like. With the slenderness of its head and its wing, I know what birds and what bats look like. These things, or this thing, didn't have any feathers or fur, and it didn't fly like anything I've ever seen." Amatrano added that the thing he saw, which according to him had muscular legs, a jutting tailbone, and a human-like shape, flew in a, quote, "strange swooping motion, undulating up and down." After it flew away, he retrieved his phone from charging in the bar and texted his girlfriend and close friends what had happened. What Amatrano saw that night was one of 55 reported Chicago area sightings of a flying humanoid in 2017. Accounts have varied from a, quote, "large black bat-like being with glowing red eyes" to a, quote, "a big owl," a barn animal. or something that resembled a Gothic gargoyle, or a Mothman. Most eyewitnesses spotted the being in flight, but some particularly disturbing reports detailed it dropping onto hoods of cars, peering in through windows, and swooping down at bystanders. The alleged Mothman has captured the attention of the city, from local media articles and rap songs to Halloween costumes and countless speculative Facebook groups. Whether the accounts are true or false, you can't help but be amazed by numerous accounts of these large, dark, red-eyed figures. When there are things witnessed in large numbers, it is worthy of more investigations. I believe that 110%. If things are witnessed in large amounts with large groups of people, not to say that if one person witnesses it, it's not worthy, but I think if you've got 55 accounts of this Mothman being witnessed in Chicago, I think there may be something to it. I would be curious to see if these 55 people knew each other. I would highly doubt it. I would place my bet that they don't. But when word of mouth gets around, people sort of have or create the visual in their head. And so when you are walking, late at night in the dark, what you may see in the far distance could trigger that memory of what you heard, of what someone else's account was of a Mothman. Now, I'm not here to bash Mothman. I'm not here to put it down. I'm not here to debunk it or this story. I'm not here to debunk this story at all. But I think it's worth investigating more. I think researchers should get involved more. I think, if anything, the police should be involved more to find out whether or not these people are lying, or if they've got troubled issues that they have, maybe drug issues. I don't know. But again, I think it's worth investigating on. Okay, all of you conspiracy theorists out there, I've got news for you. Hence, Paranormal News Network. Chemtrails. Now, people have been talking about chemtrails for many, many years now. Many years now. And they have been, the people have been made fun of, have been shrugged off, have been told you're a conspiracy theorist, have been, just called nonsense and stupid, just every name in the book that you can think of. Well, have I got validation for you, because chemtrails are real, and in actuality, Congress has just recently had their first meeting on discussions on geoengineering and of chemtrails itself, alluding to, and I guess revealing to, that chemtrails have been happening, that the government, or in conjunction with other agencies as well, have been spreading chemicals or gases into our atmosphere to, one, test environmental factors, and two, possibly change the environment, they say right now locally. But I think we're going to be able to find out a lot more information coming soon, because this was just released. And I'm going to actually read this first, and then I've got a video of the actual meeting that Congress had on it. Geoengineering is finally going mainstream as the U.S. House Subcommittee on Environment and Subcommittee on Energy hearing in November of 2017 held the first House hearing about the science that until now has generally been considered a conspiracy theory and relegated to the fringes of society by the Praetorian Guard mainstream media, controlled by the ruling power elite oligarchy. The controversial subject of climate engineering or weather modification, which was popularized and oversimplified with the term chemtrails, is stepping from the shadows and into the light of public scrutiny for the first time. The congressional hearing, titled Geoengineering, Innovation, Research, and Technology, was attended by members of the House committees as well as representatives of think tanks, academics, and research scientists to discuss the future of geoengineering research. During the first hearing, the potential need to set up a regulatory structure within which experiments would be allowed at a set scale was discussed. Now, those who deny the fact that government is involved in geoengineering will be the conspiracy theorist. So, I actually have the clip of Chairman Andy Biggs, who is the chairman of this committee, and he was actually leading this subcommittee meeting on geoengineering. And so this is about 3 minutes of his opening statement, and just listen to what he has to say, mostly in the very beginning, when he basically is revealing the fact that chemtrails have been happening.
And I now recognize myself for 5 minutes for an opening statement. Good morning, and welcome to the Joint Environment Subcommittee and Energy Subcommittee hearing on geoengineering. I thank each of our witnesses for being here today. And since this is the first time we're discussing the topic of geoengineering this Congress, it is important to explain what geoengineering actually is. In its simplest terms, geoengineering is the concept of using scientific understanding to alter the atmosphere in a way that produces positive outcomes and results. Many of the concepts in this field deal with solar radiation management or how to influence the effects of the sun on the Earth. But the field is by no means limited to solar research. Geoengineering can also be used to manipulate different levels of gases in the atmosphere, such as carbon dioxide. These avenues of geoengineering research and others are still in the early developmental stage, and any or all of them may warrant further exploration. While there are at least a few programs in our nation's universities that are looking into these concepts, federal research is still limited. However, if in the future the government wants to actually apply the concepts and findings of geoengineering research, we must fully examine both the potential merits and potential pitfalls of this emergent field. Since the theories and concepts involved are still so new, we cannot say definitively if geoengineering technology warrants full-scale development or deployment. Quite simply, more basic research is necessary to determine whether it is a viable tool. And today we will learn about what research has been conducted on geoengineering and which promising concepts should be explored further. We will hear from government, academia, think tank, and industry representatives who have unique perspectives on this topic. They will tell us about the research being done, as well as future concepts and how they could be used responsibly. We as lawmakers have a responsibility to explore these concepts, learn as much as possible about them, and discuss ideas about how we can be helpful in supporting basic research. I'd also like to take a moment to clarify any mischaracterizations about this hearing. The purpose of this hearing is to discuss the viability of geoengineering and any early-stage research associated with this approach. The hearing is not a platform to further the debate about climate change. We've had lots of that this session. Instead, its aim is to explore approaches and technologies that have been discussed in the scientific community and to assess the basic research needed to better understand the merits of these ideas. It is my hope that members will respect this focus so that we can have a meaningful discussion about geoengineering. Again, I want to thank the witnesses for being here today, and I look forward to hearing more about...
All right, so there you have it. The chairman for the subcommittee on geoengineering, Mr. Biggs, Mr. Andy Biggs, is leading this meeting and this discussion and this committee on talking about basically talking about chemtrails and wanting to learn and understand what has been experimented, what has been discovered thus far, and whether or not a regulatory means needs to be put on them, which I 100% agree, because I have no idea, and nobody has any idea, of what these agencies have been putting into the skies and into the environment above. I highly recommend that people start to at least be more involved or more alert in regards to this. I'm certainly going to keep track of this and bring back to you guys any kind of updates that I may find, or if there are any more of these meetings that are recordable that I can bring to your attention. But funny enough, in the middle of pretty much researching this piece of information and finding out about Congress and revealing chemtrails, this developed in mid-February. This is an image of Google Maps, or I'm sorry, Google Earth. And let me see if I can play this video. I'm going to play this video for you. As you can see, this huge white line that goes from the North Pole to the South Pole has been analyzed by many people. Many people. I don't know their level of scientific or not. Many people have analyzed this and said that this is not a Google Earth glitch, that this is an actual image of the environment. These are cloud formations on Earth that was recorded back on, I think it was February 18th or February 19th of this year. And this long, what can only be described as a chemtrail, but a chemtrail would never last this long in flight from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere. Thousands of miles long. And so this gentleman here, let me see if I can roll it up. Mr. MBB333, who is a YouTuber, posted this video. Let me just see, where is it? Back on February 19th. I think he may have been the first person to discover this and actually post this on YouTube. So I'm gonna just play this video, and it's about 5 minutes long. You guys, watch it, learn from it, try to understand it, and if you have comments, comment below. Put it in the chat. Put it in the comments if you're watching this after the fact. I'd love to hear what you guys think this is.
Introduction. I received multiple emails from viewers around the world that have noticed this strange anomaly on Google Maps and on Google Earth. And it looks like a chemtrail, contrail that expands the entire length of the globe from the South Pole to the North Pole. And you can see it on both Google Earth and Google Maps. And there it is right there. This is Google Earth. It does indeed look like that. I don't know if that is in fact what it is. I'm just sharing this with you guys because it's interesting. It could only be a few things. I mean, it could be, number one, a processing glitch of some sort. Number two, it could be a near-Earth object, like possibly an asteroid or a large meteor, that I call those globetrotters, the ones that skim through the upper deck of planet Earth in the upper atmosphere and do not actually enter the atmosphere. Could it be one of those? I suppose, but the thing of it is, you would think there would have been multiple reports of people seeing such a large object, and I cannot find any. I looked at the American Meteor Society and I did some other research and did not find any reports, especially out of South America, of a large dramatic object flying through the sky. I don't think space debris could last that long. I mean, you're talking several thousand miles. So I think it would burn completely out before it went that long. So if it were a natural object, it was probably pretty good size. Must have been during the daytime. That is, in fact, if it was some sort of an object. And it stayed in the very upper decks of the Earth's atmosphere where it wasn't visible, but it left a trail. It's either that or it's a digital artifact. I don't know, but either way, it is interesting, and I'm leaving it up to you guys. You guys tell me. You can go to Google Maps right now and see it for yourself. You can also go to the website if you haven't checked it out already. We've got some new...
right, guys. So I don't know. I don't know what that is. There are. Let me see if I can pull this up again. There are updated reports since February 19th about this long cloud-like linear formation going from the North Pole to the South Pole. And if you notice in the sort of bottom right-hand corner of the screen there was a gentleman in the Netherlands who had sent this gentleman on YouTube a video clip of this, and this is just a snapshot of it. What he believed is that line formation over the Netherlands. Now, I'm not sure. I know the Netherlands is not anywhere near this line, so I'm not sure if I believe the person who is sending this video to the YouTuber and claiming that it is. I'm not sure. I don't believe it is of any kind of relevance to what we're seeing here on Google Earth map. This formation in the bottom right-hand corner here has happened in the past. That it does form, if I gathered my research correctly, it does form when a not all the time, but it forms when a cold mass is butting up against a warm mass of weather, and this sort of cloud formation happens. I don't know, but this line that we're seeing here has been reported all over the place, and nobody can explain anything. NASA has not come out with anything, has not come with an explanation of what it could be or what it is. Another update to this story as well, that afterwards, I think it was about 4 or 5 days later, Google Earth actually deleted this section of its Google Earth map, and there was no data in this area at all, the same exact area. Whether that is a glitch and they were fixing the glitch, I'm not sure, but it is a neat story to discuss and talk about, and you know, maybe keep an eye out for if it does happen in the future again. Okay, getting on to some entertainment news, a little fun news. Everybody knows who Zachary Quinto is. He is now going to be hosting the show that I fell in love with back in the late 70s and early 80s, that Leonard Nimoy of Star Trek hosted, which was In Search Of. History Channel's actually bringing that back. The article says, In Search Of, a TV show from the late 1970s and early 1980s that was hosted by both Rod Serling and Leonard Nimoy. I never actually saw it with Rod Serling, who everybody knows from The Twilight Zone, but I did watch it when Leonard Nimoy actually hosted it, is being rebooted again, this time with Zachary Quinto as host. The series, which was also relaunched in 2002, which was a bad relaunch, on the Sci-Fi Channel with host Mitch Pileggi, focuses on unexplained phenomena from all over the world, so it's right in the History Channel's Ancient Aliens wheelhouse. The network said, quote, each episode will follow Quinto as he investigates a different subject within a dynamic theme, such as alien encounters, mysterious creatures, UFO sightings, time travel, and artificial intelligence, and searches for the truth to some of the world's greatest mysteries. This is well-worn territory in reality TV, including Sci-Fi's Destination Truth and now Travel Channel's Expedition Unknown. Despite the paranormal as subject matter, History aims a bit higher, saying the show will explore enigmas told through the eyes of witnesses and scholars with a personal connection to the phenomena, and include immersive demonstrations and experiments that contextualize each episode's theme. It's a new plateau. It also points out that UFOs and paranormal mysteries remain relevant, as the Pentagon recently acknowledged a secret UFO program which investigated sightings of UFOs. Quinto, who previously appeared on Stars the Chair, cited Nimoy, his friend and fellow Spock, in the press release. Quote, I am excited to be reimagining, in search of, and exploring new questions and phenomena with all of the advancements in science and technology from which we have benefited in the past 40 years since the original series first aired. In the spirit of my late dear friend Leonard Nimoy, we intend to honor and perpetuate his endless curiosity about the world and universe in which we live. End of quote. There is no official start date for the show as of yet, so keep your eyes and ears open. Okay, really interesting. I certainly can't wait for that show to come about. Now we get on to probably more familiar names. I'm sure everybody knows all about Ghost Adventures and the infamous Zach Bagans. Well, you've no doubt seen plenty of horror movies that start with a documentary crew heading into an infamously haunted house. But Demon House is doing it for real. The new horror documentary comes from paranormal investigator and host of Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures, Zach Bagans. Bagans writes, directs, and hosts the new film, which takes viewers inside the Gary, Indiana paranormal hotspot known as the House of 200 Demons, where former residents have reported all kinds of supernatural experiences, from possession to levitation. Since the Indianapolis Star first revealed the house's unusual happenings in 2014, and since then, the phenomena has been reported on USA Today, Fox News, and Huffington Post, and with Demon House, you can step inside the so-called portal to hell alongside Bagans and his crew and get a first-hand look at the spooky spot. Demon House also features Bagans' Ghost Adventures crew Jay Wasley and Billy Tolley, and arrives in theaters on video on demand and digital HD on March 16th, 2018. Watch the exclusive trailer for its debut. I'm going to play the trailer now and then I'll comment afterwards. Here we go.
I've been here long enough. I came to kill, I'm going to kill now.
I'm Zach Bagans. I'm one of the world's leading researchers on ghosts and demonology. And this film is cursed. A story about a demon possession makes international news.
You know, look at one of the most documented cases of demon possession and exorcism in recent history.
The next day, over the phone, I buy the house, sight unseen.
In my 37 years of police investigation, I've never run into anything like that before.
I just got the keys to the demon house. You think it's dangerous for me to be in that house?
I wouldn't be there.
She had holes in both her wrists, just like little cuts.
They called 911.
They called 911.
They did.
There was an unidentifiable voice. I only heard it on the recording.
Who in there?
Something came back. I don't know if it was that demon, but something came.
I put the crucifix on her head. She began convulsing.
There was a 6 engraved in our back.
I hear you, ancient serpent.
I'm waiting on the police to come.
What just happened? You attacked Jay.
If people are making this up, I'm gonna catch them.
Why is it spiking you like this?
We were just around my house and we see 3 police cars.
This is what it all comes down to.
There was a face. It doesn't want me, it wants you.
Okay, so to me it looks like an over-exaggerated episode of Ghost Adventures. I do remember when the story came out in 2014, and the whole idea of Zach Bagans buying this home sight unseen, and then supposedly investigating the home, which I believe is what are some of these scenes and pieces in this movie, or this documentary movie, and then having the home condemned and just demolished and destroyed. That left a lot of question marks on the heads of a lot of paranormal enthusiasts and investigators in the field, because there was no room for further investigation, or in some cases any kind of debunking whatsoever. So the storyline that is going to be proposed within this documentary or docufilm, it is basically the be-all and end-all. There's nothing that anybody can say or do to either corroborate his story or to conflict his story, to debunk it, or to naysay about, maybe some of the findings that they found and some reasonable explanations as to what could be happening in that home or did happen in that home. That's the only thing that I have a problem with. It does look like a really great documentary. Like I said, it looks like an exaggerated Ghost Adventures episode. But you can never make up your mind or judgment based on trailers. A lot of times they meaning Hollywood, puts pretty much the best scenes in the trailers, and you are left with nothing during the entire film. So if that's the case with this, I don't know. It may not be anything, but it probably will be a movie that I will see. Maybe I don't think it's going to be on in the theaters. I probably may get it somewhere else. Who knows? Not sure. And the last thing that I want to talk about tonight is a really good friend of mine who I have known for, I'd have to say maybe 7 years, 6 or 7 years now, and it is none other than Sharon Coyle-Farley, who is the owner and caretaker and friend of Rolling Hills Asylum. This place, Rolling Hills Asylum, is quite notoriously, and with big neon signs, the most haunted place, I believe, to be in the United States. Quite possibly could be all over the world, but I can definitely say that it is one of the most haunted places in the United States. It is located in East Bethany, New York, which is about, I think, 45 minutes southeast of Buffalo. I have been to this location several times. I have been in constant communication, for the most part, with Sharon over the years, ever since my first visit there. But recently I've decided actually to go back to this place, and I will be going to Rolling Hills Asylum in April, and I will be doing a live investigation there for about 8 hours with a group of people. I can't wait to go back there. I haven't been there in several years, so I am thrilled to the bone to just talk to the spirits there, and most importantly, though, to talk to Sharon Coyle, who I miss dearly. I do want to get back there and just hug her and just shoot the breeze with her and see her again. And so what I did actually just this week was reach out to Sharon and ask her a couple of questions that, just to get a little bit more information from her about what's going on, what's happening, what are some cool, exciting, newsworthy stuff that I can share with all of you. It was funny because just this past weekend, she was telling me that BuzzFeed, the company, the news program, BuzzFeed, was actually there this weekend, so they're probably doing a piece on her there. There's always people that are news crews and journalists and historians, the like, that go to Rolling Hills and want to spread the word about the place, about the location, about its history and its people. So I asked Sharon a couple of questions that I'm going to read for you now, and I'll read for you her answers. I'm hoping to actually, when I'm there in April, actually do a one-on-one interview with her, so I'll actually be able to get video. But here are some questions that I've asked her, and here are her responses. The first question is, what can people expect? Oh, before I go any further, as you notice on the screen, as you are watching me right now, Rolling Hills Asylum has an awesome event that is scheduled for June 8th. If you guys are familiar with the guys from Ghost Hunters, who have been there many, many times, Steve Gonzalez and Dave Tango are actually slated to be there on June 8th. You can eat with them, talk with them, hang out with them, and even investigate Rolling Hills with them. How cool would that be to actually be side by side with Steve or Dave, who you have watched on television for many, many years now, and to be able to investigate with them at one of the most haunted locations that I know of, and I'm sure that you know of, in this country, Rolling Hills Asylum. They're going to be there Friday, June 8th. You can get the Gold Pass, which is $139, which frankly is pretty cheap, for a meet and greet, a dinner, presentation, tour, and a hunt. Apparently right now the VIP pass is actually sold out, so you missed out on that opportunity. You have to keep up with social media and get on Sharon's page, Facebook page for Rolling Hills Asylum. Go to rollinghillsasylum.com. Make sure you keep up with the news, because you don't want to miss out on any of these things. Steve and Dave have not been there for 10 years, over 10 years I think it's been. So I think it'd be interesting to see what happens when they go back. If you go back to some of the Ghost Hunters episodes and watch what happened when they were there the last time on television, it'll be interesting to see what happens when you're there live with them. So here are some of the questions that I've asked Sharon, and here are her answers. Question number 1. What can people expect from investigating at Rolling Hills Asylum with Steve and Tango? And Sharon writes, people can expect to experience an investigation for themselves. They will be investigating this amazing historical asylum. Steve and Tango will explain different techniques and tricks of the trade for optimizing their chances of having a paranormal experience. Steve says, quote, the investigating is a lot of fun, but sometimes my favorite part of the night is the Q&A. The questions some people ask are hilarious, and the serious ones are great too, end of quote. Steve and Tango really enjoy meeting fans of the show and fellow paranormal enthusiasts, and really getting some FaceTime to chat and make new friends. Question number 2, what do you hope visitors will take away from this event? I hope people come away from the event feeling like they had a great time with Steve and Tango, learned a little more than what they came in knowing about them, Rolling Hills Asylum, and the paranormal in general, and had some awesome experiences. Steve and Tango like to have fun with people, as you know, as you've seen it on the shows. They like to have fun with people and just joke around, but know it's time to get serious when the lights go out. They hope people learn a few things, have fun hanging out with them, and most importantly, that they have a blast. Question number 3, any recent activity at Rolling Hills Asylum that is different than anything before? And Sharon writes, activity at Rolling Hills is always off the hook and always changing. Let me rephrase that. It's not that the activity changes so much as the energies of the visitors and investigators is always different, so their energies bring out various activities. It may be that certain people connect with spirits differently, or certain people remind the spirits of people they knew when they were alive. That could be either positively or negatively. Some things that have been happening recently is items are being whipped at people, and they often seem to be materializing out of thin air, such as pens, a 20 euro coin, which, why would a euro coin be in New York? I'm not sure. In a location that is not open to many people of that facet. A seashell piece of plaster from the west wing has been thrown at someone, while in the east wing, totally two different building materials. Wow. Holy crap. Okay. The intake door is slamming on people. I wedge it open with a doorstop. I kick it hard several times in place to make certain it's wedged open. Volunteers do the same. We've seen the door slam shut when no one is standing anywhere near it, and the wedge is kicked far away from the door. We've always had and still do have Class A EVPs. I can vouch for that because I remember, first of all, I think this will be my 5th time that I've actually gone to Rolling Hills Asylum. And every single time I have gotten Class EVPs. There's actually one video, if you go to rollinghillsasylum.com and you go to the section where there's evidence, there's a video that is up there that I shared with Sharon, and she actually posted it up on her website, where it shows a door slamming. At that time, during that time that I was there, I think it was 2011. The location of where we were at, which I believe was the hallway leading to Nurse Emma's room. The door outside of that room was notorious for closing for some reason, and sure enough it did that. There's another video that I actually have that is in direct correlation to one of the Ghost Adventures episodes of when they were there. There's an episode, or there's a part in one of their episodes where you get an EVP of, well, actually it wasn't an EVP, it was actually, you heard it with your own ears, of a woman screaming. It's screeching. And I actually captured that same exact woman's screeching voice on mine. Maybe I'll share that on the website, or maybe I'll put it on Twitter. If you guys catch me on Twitter, on Is It Paranormal, at Is It Paranormal, you can check information there on my stuff, and I might post it on there. But it directly, exactly the same way that the Ghost Adventure guys had actually uncovered their evidence there of this woman screaming. I got the same thing. But I do catch many Class A EVPs, as Sharon has just stated, and they are overwhelmingly intelligent responses, not just one or two random words, but full-on sentences and conversations. The morgue, which I love the morgue. The morgue is always a popular spot to investigate because of the suit. The suit is hanging up waiting to be put on to a man prior to burial, in theory. However, the fun thing is, the spirits love to use it as a pendulum, swing one direction for yes and the other for no. Sometimes it spins super fast or vibrates. There is no wind or draft in the area. It's quite something. Of course, there are the shadow people, crawlers, disembodied voices. I could go on and on. LOL. Yeah, the shadow people, there is, I believe, the shadow hallway, which you see shadows that are darting in and out of the doorways down that hallway. I can't wait to go back there. Sharon, I cannot wait to see you again and to see the place. And actually see Roy again, who's one of the main spirits there. And the last question, are there any more upcoming events, hunts, or conferences that you can share with everyone, and what to look forward to in the future this year? And Sharon writes, I am always trying to add more and varied types of events. Currently, we offer the usual guided historical and flashlight tours, public and private ghost hunts, special events such as dinner with a ghost, catered dinner plus a ghost hunt. That's awesome. Painting with a ghost. I should maybe call it painting with the paranormal. I kind of like that, Sharon. Painting with the paranormal. It's a paint night plus a tour or a ghost hunt. Adult eats Easter egg hunt and ghost hunt. That's pretty cool. Shopping with the spirits. This is psychic fair and vendors and tours. She has some great vendors that actually show up at Rolling Hills Asylum. Great stuff. Jewelry pieces, artifacts. There are psychics there that you can get readings from. It's amazing. And celebrity events such as the June 8th, 9th Ghost Hunt event with Stephen Tango. I do have some other special surprises coming for later this summer. We have also expanded on private company team building events, birthday parties, family reunions, etc. So it is an amazing space run by an amazing woman, Sharon Coyle-Farley, who is a sweetheart, that's the least I can say for her. Sweetheart indeed. Can't wait to see you, Sharon. I can't wait for my friends who are coming with me to check it out. It'll be the first time that they've ever actually investigated a place, so it's going to be exciting for them as well, and I can't wait. And I thank you for allowing me to come back and visit the space again. That is it, my friends. I do want to thank you for tuning in to this very first episode of Paranormal News Network. I do want to remind everybody that if you have a piece of news information, you have gossip, entertainment, paranormal entertainment news, if you have a paranormal group that you want to nominate and highlight on the show, I would love to hear it. I do want to, in the future, start to highlight and bring forth a lot of information about some of the great groups, the great paranormal groups out there that are doing hard work, that are pioneering in their efforts to find the truth, to try to find the evidence or the knowledge and the research that we all are looking for. I want to highlight you guys. I want to make sure that I get your names out there, your mission statements, your evidence, and your websites or any kind of social media so that people can contact you locally in your areas. Please send it my way. Again, the address here is above, isitparanormal@mail.com. Send me information. What I'd also love to offer you, if you have watched this video this long, I want to offer people out there the chance to actually be on this YouTube channel. I want you to be a fellow reporter, a on-the-field reporter or journalist. If you are interested in creating a video of a piece of paranormal news, either that you've found locally or that you found interesting that's online that has not been discussed yet so far, please email me information. I can give you more information in regards to, the type of format or how long it could be or any of that information. But I'd love to have you guys out there not just submit the news, but actually report the news. Sending me a video of yourself reporting on the news. Again, either in the field or in your living room, in your bathroom, in your hallway. However you want to do it, I'd love to get those videos from you so that I can play it here on air and share with everybody. Give you the credit for it. Make sure that you get the ownership of it and get the word out there. So I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm going to head off right now to find and research more information, more news. Check me out. It's not going to be a regular time schedule or a day schedule until we figure out where things are going to go. So make sure that you like this video, but most importantly, make sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you also hit the bell button so that you know when notifications of when I do go live, and more information will come about how this show will progress, and more information on how you can contribute to it. Thank you all for stopping by, and have a great weekend, everybody. Good night.